The city of Lahore was alive with noise and light. Neon signs flickered across the busy streets, while rickshaws and cars honked in a constant rhythm. Inside a towering office building, behind glass walls that reflected the city's glow, everything seemed perfect, modern, polished, successful. But inside those walls, not every dream found room to grow. Sarah sat at her desk, her laptop humming quietly in front of her. She was 24, young but determined, wearing a simple black kurta and jeans. Her desk was messy compared to her colleagues. Coffee cups stacked on one side, a half-finished notebook filled with sketches of coding ideas, and a small photo frame turned upside down. If anyone had looked closer, they'd see a smiling picture of her with her mother, Amna, laughing on a sunny day. It was her reminder of home, of love, of why she worked so hard. But Sarah kept it face down. She didn't want anyone in this office to see how fragile her heart really was. Across the hall, the sound of expensive shoes clicked against the marble floor. Raheel, the company's 32-year-old star manager, walked in like he owned the building. He was tall, sharp-featured, dressed in a perfect navy blue suit that screamed money and power. Every employee straightened up when he entered. Some smiled, some looked down, but all of them knew Raheel was untouchable. His words could end careers in minutes, and he loved that power. Conference room. Now, Raheel said, his voice cutting across the office. Employees rushed to gather their laptops and files. Sarah clutched her old USB drive and followed, her stomach tight with nerves. Today was her chance. Weeks of late nights, coding, debugging, drinking too much chai. All of it led to this. She had built something revolutionary, an AI bot that could scan networks and detect scam accounts within seconds. She believed it could change everything, not just for the company, but for ordinary people being robbed online. And this was her moment to present it. The conference room smelled of polished wood and expensive cologne. A large screen dominated the wall, waiting for presentations. Raheel sat at the head of the table, leaning back in his chair, arms crossed, a faint smirk playing on his lips. Around him sat executives in crisp shirts, their eyes on the young woman setting up her USB. Sarah's hands shook slightly as she plugged in the drive. She cleared her throat and began. Good afternoon, everyone. I've been working on something for the past few weeks. An AI bot designed to detect scam networks. I call it RevengeBot V1. It can identify fraudulent accounts, track unusual financial activity, and connect patterns that humans often miss. If we implement it, Raheel raised an eyebrow, cutting her off. Wait, RevengeBot? Is this a university project? Sounds like something a teenager would name. Laughter rippled around the table. Sarah flushed but pressed on. The name can change, sir. What matters is the function. Watch this. She clicked the screen, and numbers and graphs filled the display. Within seconds, the bot highlighted a set of suspicious accounts, red warnings blinking across the map. Sarah's voice grew steadier as she explained how the bot could prevent millions in fraud losses. For a moment, silence filled the room. The executives leaned forward, clearly impressed. Even the oldest among them muttered, "Remarkable." But Raheel? He leaned back, chuckling. Impressive graphics, but let's be honest. Do you really think you can solve something global with your little laptop? Fraud detection requires billion-dollar systems, not interns playing coder at night. The words stabbed her like knives. Sarah's throat tightened. Sir, it's not just graphics. The code is solid. I've tested it. Raheel picked up her USB from the table and twirled it between his fingers. This, he said mockingly, is fantasy. And this company doesn't have time for fantasies. He tossed the USB across the table. It skidded and landed near Sarah's notebook. More laughter filled the room, louder this time. Sarah bent down, her face burning, and picked it up with trembling hands. The executives avoided her eyes now. some smirking, some shaking their heads. Her chance was gone. Her dream had been crushed in seconds. Meeting adjourned, Raheel declared, standing up. The room emptied quickly, people eager to get back to their desks and gossip about the humiliation they'd just witnessed. Sarah remained seated, clutching the USB like it was her lifeline. She swallowed hard, fighting the tears threatening to spill. Not here, not in front of them. She gathered her things and walked briskly to the bathroom. The moment the door shut behind her, she collapsed against the wall, covering her face. "He thinks I'm weak," she whispered to herself, her voice breaking. "He thinks I'm nothing." Tears streamed down her cheeks, but only for a moment. Then her jaw tightened. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "When people underestimate you, don't cry. Create." Sarah wiped her face with determination. "Fine, Raheel. You want to play dirty. I'll play smarter." That night, back in her small apartment, Sarah sat hunched over her second-hand laptop. The room was dim, lit only by the blue glow of the screen. Outside, Lahore buzzed with nightlife, but Sarah was locked in her own world. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, lines of code appearing like poetry. She wasn't just fixing the bot, she was weaponizing it. On the screen appeared the words, "Revenge Bot V1, initializing." Her lips curled into a small, fierce smile. She connected the bot to Raheel's corporate accounts, tracing every financial path, every hidden transaction. What she found made her stomach twist. Raheel wasn't just arrogant, he was dirty. Multiple fake accounts, money transfers to unknown networks, offshore links tied to scams. The same man who mocked her project was neck-deep in fraud himself. Sarah leaned back, heart pounding. She whispered, "Got you." The next morning, the office buzzed with its usual energy. Employees tapped on keyboards. Printers whirred. Phones rang non-stop. Raheel walked in as confident as ever, his suit sharp, his smile sharper. No one knew what was coming. Sarah sat quietly at her desk, sipping her chai. On her laptop, a notification popped up. Fraud detected. Raheel's account linked to scam network. Her chest tightened, not with fear, but with anticipation. Today, the mask would fall. By noon, an urgent meeting was called in the boardroom. Everyone gathered, murmurs filling the air. Raheel stood at the head again, ready to dominate. But before he could speak, the large screen behind him flickered to life. Red warnings flashed. Alert, scam network detected. Then names, numbers, and accounts filled the screen, all pointing back to Raheel. Gasps erupted. Executives exchanged shocked glances. One of them slammed his hand on the table. "Raheel, these accounts are under your ID." Raheel's face drained of color. "No, this is a mistake. Someone's framing me." The CEO cut him off, his voice cold. "Enough. You're suspended. Effective immediately." The room buzzed with whispers, phones clicking pictures of the screen. Raheel stammered, sweat beading on his forehead. He looked around desperately. Then his eyes landed on Sarah. She sat calmly at the table, a faint smile on her lips. She didn't say a word, but her silence screamed louder than any accusation. Raheel's mouth opened, but no words came. For the first time, the untouchable boss was powerless. Sarah stood, collected her things, and walked out. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, steady, unshaken. In her heart, a quiet fire burned. She had done it. She had proved him wrong. And this was just the beginning. The office had changed overnight. Where Raheel once walked like a king, now there was only silence. His glass-walled cabin stood empty, blinds closed, his nameplate removed. Employees whispered in corners, glancing nervously at Sarah, though no one dared approach her. Some admired her, some feared her, and others simply wondered how she had pulled it off. But Sarah didn't care about the whispers. She knew one thing, Raheel wasn't finished. A man like him didn't vanish quietly. He would come back, desperate, angry, Dangerous. She had to stay one step ahead. That evening, Sarah sat in her apartment, laptop open, the screen glowing with lines of code. She sipped cold chai, her mind sharp. Revenge Bot V2. That's what she was building now. Stronger, faster, smarter. If Raheel had thought she was weak, she was going to show him the truth. As she worked, her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you've won, little girl. This isn't over. Sarah's lips tightened. She expected this. Raheel's arrogance wouldn't die so easily. But what he didn't know was that she wasn't afraid anymore. She whispered to herself, "No, Raheel. This time I set the rules. The first move." The next morning, Sarah arrived at the office early. The CEO, Mr. Kamal, called her into his cabin. He was a serious man in his 50s, with sharp eyes and a voice that carried authority. "Sarah," he began, sliding a file toward her. "Your bot uncovered something no one else could. You've saved this company from a disaster. We want you back on the project, but officially this time. You'll lead the cybersecurity team." Sarah blinked, shocked. "Sir, me? Lead a team?" Kamal nodded. "Yes, you've earned it." For the first time in weeks, warmth spread in her chest. Recognition, respect, but alongside it came a sharper thought. This is exactly what Raheel wants to destroy. She nodded firmly. "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down." When she walked back to her desk, people looked at her differently. Not as the girl who had been humiliated, but as the woman who had taken down a giant. Still, she kept her expression calm. She wasn't celebrating yet. She knew Raheel was watching from the shadows. Raheel's counterattack. She was right. 2 nights later, her laptop pinged with an alert. Unauthorized access attempt. Someone was trying to break into her system. Sarah's heart raced as she typed commands, blocking the attack. But then she saw the source. Raheel's old corporate ID, ghosted through multiple VPNs. He was testing her, hunting her. She leaned forward, fingers flying. "So you want to play, Raheel?" "Let's play." Sarah launched a trace, following his signal like a hunter chasing prey. The bot highlighted a location, an internet cafe on the outskirts of the city. She grabbed her phone, saved the data, and whispered, "Got you again. The trap begins." The next day at work, Sarah set her plan in motion. She called her small team into a meeting room. 3 young programmers, nervous but eager. "I need you all to trust me," she began. "Raheel is trying to attack our system again. But this time, we won't just defend. We'll trap him." The team exchanged uneasy glances. One of them asked, "But isn't he suspended? How can he still have access?" Sarah's eyes hardened. "Because he created backdoors. He planned this long ago. But he doesn't know what I've built since then." She pulled up the bot's new interface on the screen. Sleek, fast, powerful. "This is Revenge Bot V2. Tonight, when he tries again, he won't know he's walking into my net. And when the trap closes, everyone will see who he really is." The programmers nodded slowly, their fear giving way to determination. For the first time, Sarah wasn't fighting alone. Nightfall. Sarah returned home, nerves buzzing like electricity. She set up her laptop, multiple monitors glowing in the dark. The city outside was quiet, but inside her apartment, it felt like a battlefield. Hours passed. Midnight struck. Then, the alert came. Unauthorized access detected. Sarah sat up straight, eyes locked on the screen. Raheel was here. His digital fingerprints crawled across her system, searching, probing, trying to break through. "Come on," she whispered. "Take the bait." The bot opened a fake folder. Company secrets. Inside, Sarah had planted a trap. Hidden code disguised as sensitive files. Raheel's signal moved closer. He entered the folder. He clicked. The trap snapped shut. On Sarah's screen, lines of code lit up in green. Target tracked. Identity exposed. She gasped softly. The bot had pulled Raheel's real IP address. his device ID, even his webcam feed. For a split second, Sarah saw him, sitting in a dark room, his face tense, eyes bloodshot. He froze. Realizing too late that he'd been caught, Sarah whispered to the screen, "Checkmate, public exposure." The next morning, Sarah walked into the office, carrying a USB. Her team was already waiting, excitement and fear mixed in their eyes. Together, they entered the boardroom, where the CEO and senior executives sat. Rahil was there too. She summoned under the pretense of clearing his name. He looked polished as ever, but his eyes flickered with unease when he saw Sarah. Mr. Kamal gestured. "Sarah, you may begin." Sarah plugged in the USB. The screen lit up, showing Rahil's failed attack, his IP trace, and the frozen webcam image of his face. During the hack attempt, gasps filled the room. Rahil shot up, slamming the table. "This is fake. She's framing me." Sarah's voice was steady, calm. "No, Rahil, you framed yourself. My bot doesn't lie. You tried to destroy me, but instead, you exposed your own crimes." The CEO's face was grim. "Rahil, you're finished. Security will escort you out immediately. And this time, there's no coming back." The guards entered. Rahil's face twisted with rage as he was dragged away. His eyes locked on Sarah, burning with hatred. "This isn't over, girl. You'll regret this." But Sarah didn't flinch. She stood tall, her gaze steady. Inside, her heart was pounding, but she knew the truth. She had won another battle, the quiet. After the storm that night, Sarah returned home, exhausted but victorious. She placed the photo frame of her and her mother upright on the desk for the first time. Looking at it, she whispered, "Ami, I did it." I stood tall. Her laptop screen glowed with the bot's message. "System secure. Threat neutralized." Sarah leaned back, a small smile forming. Rahil was gone, but she knew the war wasn't truly over. People like him didn't disappear. They plotted. They waited. They struck again. Still, tonight was hers. Tonight, she had not just survived humiliation. She had turned it into power. She whispered into the quiet room. Rahil wanted to play dirty, but I played smarter. The morning after Rahil's downfall, the office felt different. The tension that once hung in the air was gone, replaced by a new kind of energy. People looked at Sarah with admiration, even respect. Where once there had been whispers and laughter at her expense, now there were nods of acknowledgement. Sarah sat at her desk, sipping coffee. She wasn't celebrating, not yet. She knew Rahil's threats still lingered. His words echoed in her mind. "This isn't over, girl." But something inside her had changed. For the first time, she didn't feel like prey. She felt like the hunter. Recognition. Later that morning, Mr. Kamal called Sarah into his office again. He was holding a report in his hand, his eyes bright with something rare. "Pride." "Sarah," he began. "Last night's evidence spread faster than we imagined. Not only did we confirm Rahil's guilt, but your bot uncovered links to an entire scam network. Fake accounts, money laundering, data theft. It was all connected." Sarah blinked. "Sir, you mean Rahil wasn't working alone?" Kamal nodded gravely. "Exactly. And because of you, we have the proof to shut them down. You're not just an employee anymore. You're the reason this company still stands." He extended his hand. "Welcome back, Sarah." This time as head of cybersecurity. Sarah hesitated only a moment before shaking his hand. For months, she had been treated like nothing, but now she was finally being seen. She smiled faintly. "Thank you, sir, but I'm not done yet." Kamal tilted his head. "What do you mean?" Sarah's eyes hardened. "Rahil isn't the type to accept defeat quietly. If he's connected to bigger players, he'll come back. And when he does, I'll be ready." A new mission. That night, Sarah sat in her apartment, laptop open once more. The glow from the screen illuminated her face as her fingers typed quickly. Revenge Bot V3. This version wasn't just for Raheel. This was for everyone like him, people who preyed on others. Thinking they could get away with it, she added new features. Detection system that scanned for scam. Accounts across platforms. A trace function that revealed real identities hidden behind fake usernames. An automated reporting tool that could expose criminals to authorities. Instantly, as the code came alive, Sarah felt something stirring inside her. This wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice. The first test, the next day, Sarah put her bot to work. Within hours, it uncovered a ring of accounts targeting young women with fake job offers. Accounts designed to lure them into scams. Sarah saved the data, then sent it directly to law enforcement. By evening, the scam network had been dismantled. News outlets reported the arrests. Sarah read the headlines on her phone. Anonymous bot helps police catch scammers. Digital vigilante saves dozens from online fraud. Her lips curved into a smile. No one knew it was her, but she knew, and for the first time, the pain of her humiliation began to fade, replaced with purpose. Raheel strikes back, but Sarah's victory didn't go unnoticed. 3 nights later, her system picked up another attack. This one was stronger, sharper, more dangerous. It wasn't Raheel alone. It was Raheel with help. Her heart pounded as she watched lines of code storm her firewall. Whoever was behind him, they were skilled. Sarah typed furiously, countering each strike. Sweat beaded on her forehead. They won't win. Not this time. The bot deployed its defenses, trapping 2 of the attackers. Sarah gasped as their identities popped up on the screen. Foreign hackers, paid mercenaries. Raheel had hired them. Then, in the middle of the chaos, a message appeared on her screen. You think you're smart, Sarah. You're just one girl. We're many. You can't win. Sarah stared at the words, anger burning in her chest. She typed back, you were wrong before, Raheel. I'm not just one girl. I'm every victim you tried to silence. And I don't lose. With a final keystroke, she unleashed Revenge Bot V3's new feature, a counter hack. The screen lit up as Raheel's mercenaries were kicked out. Their systems crashed, their data exposed. Sarah leaned back, breathing hard. She had survived again, but now she knew the truth. Raheel wasn't just bitter. He was dangerous, and he was desperate. The public reveal. The next morning, Sarah arrived at work to find chaos. News channels were outside the building, reporters crowding the entrance. Inside, her boss hurried over. Sarah, it's you. They found out it's you behind the bot. Sarah froze. What? How? Kamal handed her his phone. On the screen, an article headline blared. Meet the woman behind the viral revenge bot. Sarah's picture was there, taken from her social media. Her stomach dropped. How? She began. But Kamal cut her off. It doesn't matter how. What matters is, everyone knows. And Sarah, they're calling you a hero. Outside, reporters shouted her name. Online, hashtags trended worldwide. Revenge Bot Girl asked Sarah the fighter. Sarah felt dizzy. For so long, she had been invisible. Now, the world was watching her. The rise that night, Sarah sat alone in her apartment, scrolling through messages. Hundreds of women had written to her. Strangers. Victims. Survivors. Because of you, I left my abusive boss. Your story gave me courage to speak up. Thank you for showing us we're not powerless. Tears welled in her eyes. She hadn't expected this. She hadn't planned for fame, or for strangers to call her their voice. But now she realized something. This was bigger than her. She whispered into the quiet room. Raheel tried to destroy me. Instead, he made me stronger. Sarah turned back to her laptop. The bot glowed on the screen, waiting for its next mission. She smiled through her tears. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. Outside, the city of Lahore buzzed with life. Inside, a new kind of warrior had risen. Not out of power, not out of hate, but out of survival. Sarah. The girl who had been humiliated. The woman who had been underestimated. The fighter who now stood tall. And as her fingers danced across the keyboard, she knew one truth above all others. This wasn't just her rise. It was the rise of every silenced voice she would help set free. The night was heavy with silence. When Sarah's laptop beeped, a red alert flashed across the screen. Her heart skipped. Incoming attack detected. This time it wasn't like the others. The scale was massive. Millions of lines of malicious code flooding her system, trying to choke it, break it, and destroy everything she had built. Sarah leaned forward, her eyes sharp, her fingers steady on the keyboard. So, it begins. Rahil's return hours earlier. Rahil had disappeared from social media. His accounts had been deleted, his followers gone, his name stained with scandal. But instead of retreating, he had gone underground. And now he was back, with allies, from a dark basement in Karachi. Rahil sat with 2 foreign hackers. They called themselves the Vultures. Their screens glowed as they launched attack after attack, their faces twisted with greed. "This girl embarrassed you," one sneered. "Don't worry, tonight we end her." Rahil smirked. "No, tonight we erase her." The first strike, Sarah's bot fought back instantly, deploying firewalls, scrambling IP addresses, shielding her identity. But the enemy was relentless. They weren't just trying to take her, system down. They were trying to break her spirit. Her phone buzzed with threatening messages. "You're finished. Delete the bot or watch your life burn. We know where you live." Sarah's chest tightened. Fear clawed at her mind, but she forced it back. She had survived humiliation, betrayal, and loneliness. She wouldn't crumble now. She whispered to herself, "You picked the wrong woman to fight." A battle of wits hours turned into a brutal digital war. Sarah's apartment was silent, except for the furious tapping of her keys. Lines of code scrolled across the screen like a battlefield. Each command a sword, each defense a shield. The attackers tried to overwhelm her server. Sarah split the bot into dozens of microbots, scattering them like soldiers across the internet. Each one counted, blocked, and reported fake accounts faster than the hackers could create them. Rahil cursed, slamming his fist on the desk. "How is she doing this? She's just one girl." One of the vultures growled. "She's better than you told us." But no one is unstoppable. "We'll drown her." Sarah's eyes burned with exhaustion, but she didn't stop. Her fingers flew faster, her brain racing ahead. She had anticipated this. Revenge Bot V4 wasn't just built for defense. It had claws. She typed a final command, trace, execute. Her bot reached back through the hackers' codes, peeling away their layers of anonymity. Slowly, their real IP addresses began to appear. Sarah grinned. "Got you." The personal attack. But Rahil wasn't done. When brute force failed, he shifted tactics. Suddenly, Sarah's social media accounts lit up with doctored photos. Fake news articles claimed she had cheated the company, betrayed friends, even fabricated her story. Hashtags trended against her. Sarah the liar. Bot fraud. The humiliation felt familiar, like a wound reopening. She saw strangers mocking her, doubting her. For a moment, her hands froze on the keyboard. Then she remembered the messages from women she had helped. "Because of you, I left my abusive boss." Her jaw tightened. "I won't let him silence me again." Sarah hacked into the fake accounts spreading the lies. Within minutes, she exposed them, all created by Rahil's network. Screenshots of his commands, his payments to the vultures, all shared with journalists. The tide turned instantly. The hashtags flipped. Sarah, the fighter. Expose Raheel. Raheel screamed at his hackers. Do something! But they couldn't. Their network was collapsing under Sarah's counterattack. Breaking point. The war dragged into dawn. Sarah's apartment was filled with empty coffee cups. Her eyes bloodshot, her fingers numb. Yet she pushed on. Finally, the bot sent a message. Enemy main server located. Sarah's pulse quickened. It was Raheel's base of operations. With one command, she could shut it down. But she hesitated. Destroying it would mean ending the fight, but it would also mean crossing a line. Becoming the same kind of hacker Raheel was. She stared at the screen, torn. Then she remembered the faces of the women she had saved. The lives spared, because she fought back. She whispered, "This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about ending monsters like you." She hit enter. The bot launched a counterhack, tearing through Raheel's servers like fire through dry grass. Files vanished. Hard drives corrupted. The Vulture's systems crashed. On the other side, Raheel's scream echoed through the basement as his empire crumbled. Silence. After the storm at sunrise, Sarah leaned back in her chair. Her screen showed victory. Attack terminated. Enemy disabled. Evidence secured. Her body shook with exhaustion, but her soul felt lighter. The war was over, for now. Moments later, her phone buzzed. It was Kamal. "Sarah, the police raided Raheel's hideout this morning. They found everything. Stolen data, scam networks, blackmail records. He's finished. And the vultures. They're under arrest too." Sarah closed her eyes, relief washing over her. She had survived. She had won, the warrior. Within that night, Sarah stood by her window, looking out at Lahore's glittering skyline. The city buzzed with life, unaware of the silent war that had just been fought within its digital veins. She touched the photo frame on her desk, her and Amna, laughing together. The picture was no longer upside down. She whispered, "Raheel wanted to destroy me. Instead, he gave me purpose." Her laptop screen glowed behind her. RevengeBot V4 was ready, stronger than ever. Sarah smiled softly. This war is over, but the fight has only just begun. That afternoon, her phone rang. It was her old boss, Mr. Ali, the one who had once fired her after Raheel's lies. His voice was warm, almost apologetic. "Sarah, your bot found a whole scam network. You're a hero. Welcome back." Sarah smiled, though her eyes were thoughtful. She replied softly, "Thanks, sir. But I'm not done yet. It wasn't about going back anymore. It was about moving forward, a global symbol." Within weeks, universities, NGOs, and tech firms reached out to Sarah. Some wanted to hire her. Some wanted her to speak. Others wanted to buy her bot. But Sarah refused the easy path. She didn't want money or recognition. And she wanted impact. She partnered with a nonprofit and redesigned her bot into something bigger. Guardian, a free tool for women and vulnerable users to detect scams, harassment, and fake accounts. Guardian spread like wildfire. From Lahore to Delhi, from Cairo to New York, people downloaded it, shared it, and praised the anonymous coder behind it. And yet, Sarah kept her face hidden. She didn't need the spotlight. She just needed the world to feel safe. Raheel's fall. Meanwhile, Raheel sat in a cold jail cell. His empire gone. His followers vanished. His once famous account showed 0 followers. His name became a cautionary tale. Proof that lies, scams, and betrayal could not last forever. Sarah never visited him, never gloated. She didn't need to. His downfall was loud enough. But one evening, she stood by her window, watching the sunset, and whispered, "You thought you destroyed me, Raheel, but you built me instead." Sarah's new mission months passed, and Guardian grew stronger. Sarah began training young girls in coding, teaching them not just how to create, but how to defend themselves. In a small hall filled with eager faces, she said, "Technology is power, and power in the wrong hands destroys. But in the right hands, it protects, it heals, it saves." The girls clapped, their eyes shining with hope. For them, Sarah wasn't just a coder. She was proof that even the broken could rise stronger than ever. The viral moment one evening, Sarah uploaded a short video. In it, she wore her black hoodie, sitting at her laptop. Her words were simple but powerful. Revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about choosing yourself, rising so high that those who tried to break you can't even reach you anymore. Within hours, the clip went viral. Millions shared it. Celebrities quoted her. Hashtags trended again. Sarah had become more than a survivor. She was a movement. The photo frame back in her apartment, Sarah placed a photo frame on her desk. It was the same one she had once turned upside down. A picture of her and Amna, laughing together. She touched it gently and whispered, "I played smarter." Her laptop glowed behind her. Guardian's dashboard alive with dots of users from all over the world. Each dot was a person protected, a story saved, a victory earned. Sarah smiled. The war was over, but her mission had just begun. Epilogue. The legacy lives on years later. People would still tell her story, not just about the scandal or the bot, but about the girl who refused to stay silent, the girl who turned pain into purpose, betrayal into strength, and in villages, cities, and classrooms, young women would whisper her name like a legend. Sarah, the coder, the fighter, the legacy,